for Mrs. Sparkle. So she painted her front door, cleaned all her windows, mowed the grass, and swept the chimney. "Well," she said, "that's the best I can do." "Morning, Mrs. Sparkle," said Dig.
Today's the day.
Said Doug. "I hope everything looks tidy enough."
Tidy enough for what?
Asked Doug. "The smart new building you're putting next to my house." Dig and Doug laughed. "Wait till you see the mess we have to make first."
Yeah.
"Mess?" said Mrs. Sparkle. "What sort of mess? How much mess? I thought you'd come to build something." "We have," said Dig.
But first, we have to make a mess,
said Doug. "Oh my goodness! You'll be careful of my garden, won't you? And my shed. I love my shed. It's very old and I like it just the way it is. And oh." Poor Mrs. Sparkle. She was in a state before they'd even begun. But Dig and Doug managed to calm her down.
"You're hardly nowhere here,"
said Doug. "Hardly at all," said Dig. "What's happening?" shouted Mrs. Sparkle. "Is it an earthquake? Is it the end of the world?" But it wasn't. It was Mr. Rubble with the bulldozer.
"Morning, everyone."
"Morning, Mr. Rubble," said Dig and Doug.
"Time we got started."
"Time I put the kettle on," said Mrs. Sparkle and hurried inside. Mr. Rubble explained what he wanted done with the bulldozer. But Mrs. Sparkle was still worried about what they were going to do. She was sure that something terrible was going to happen to her garden.
"In other words,"
said Doug when Mr. Rubble had finished,
"what you want me to do is flatten it." "That's it," said Mr. Rubble. "Flat as a pancake."
"Flatten it? Flatten my shed? Surely they can't mean..." "I must find out. I must ask them because it's a special shed and I don't want anyone breaking it or spoiling it or damaging it in any way. Oh no, oh no." Just then, Daisy arrived on her skateboard. "Hello, Uncle Doug. Hello, Dig. Morning, Mr. Rubble." "Hello, Daisy," they all called. And then it happened. "Look out, Mrs. Sparkle!" "Careful, Daisy! Oh! Ah! Oh! Oh! Ah! Oh, my! Oh, Mrs. Sparkle! Oh!" Poor Mrs. Sparkle. She wasn't having a good day at all. Daisy told Mrs. Sparkle how sorry she was and offered to go shopping with her. "Thank you, Daisy," she said. "But we'll have to walk. I'm not very good at skateboarding." Dig and Doug were pleased to see that Mrs. Sparkle hadn't hurt herself and watched as she and Daisy set off for the shops.
"Right," said Mr. Rubble. "I'll move your truck out of the way. You two had better get started before anything else happens."
"Right," said Dig.
"Right,"
said Doug.
"And don't forget to look after Mrs. Sparkle's shed."
"Don't worry," said Dig.
"Leave it to us,"
said Doug. And they set about levelling the site. sure the shed looked different suddenly. And then he realised. Doug, look at this!
What?
Shouted Doug, who couldn't hear above the powerful engine. The shed! Yelled Dig. It's leaning the other way!
Hold on! Now then, what's all the fuss about?
Mrs. Sparkle's shed! It's about to fall down!
Nonsense, said Doug.
I saw it move! Said Dig.
Rubbish,
Said Doug.
it's leaning the same as it always leaned.
And he set off again. Quickly, Doug! Come and look! It's done it again!
Now look, Dig, said Doug. We'll never get anything done if we keep stopping.
I'm telling you, Doug, any minute now it's gonna collapse, and Mrs. Sparkle won't be pleased about that. Doug decided to take a closer look.
Nothing wrong with it at all,
Said Doug.
a fuss spot, that's all you are.
Let's check inside, just to be sure, said Dig. And so they did.
You see,
Said Doug.
safe as houses.
Ow! Oh! Ow! Ow! Oh! 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 Safe as what? Said Dig.
All right, clever boots,
Said Doug.
don't just stand there. She'll be back any minute.
And before very long, Dig and Doug had not only got Mrs. Sparkle's shed back on its feet again, but it wasn't leaning over anymore.
I should be pleased with that, I reckon.
Better than it was before. Toot toot! Look at us, Dig! Look at us, Uncle Doug! Said a voice suddenly. Dig and Doug could hardly believe their eyes. Toot toot! Called Mrs. Sparkle. My shopping express coming through! Toot toot! Toot toot! And then it happened again. Toot toot! Whee! Dig and Doug couldn't bear to look. Oh, that's it, Mrs. Sparkle. Nice and slowly, said Daisy. Oh, I'm fine, dear. It's my shed I'm worried about. Is it all right? Dig and Doug waited for Mrs. Sparkle to notice that her shed was not only all right, but standing up straight. Oh, no! It's wonky, she said. Wonky? Said Dig.
Wonky?
Said Doug. I know, said Daisy. Try this. That's better, said Mrs. Sparkle. Oh, for a moment there, it looked as though someone had banged into it.
Dig and Doug in a little yellow truck are Daisy's favourite friends. Driving here and driving there to fetch and fix and mend. Watch them work together, helping out in style. Always at the ready with a spanner and a smile. They're Dig and Doug and Daisy to bring a smile to you. Daisy may be somewhere near, thinking up a plan, wondering how to help them out and lend a friendly hand. They're Dig and Doug and Daisy to bring a smile to you.
Dig was driving the cement lorry to the building site. And Doug was keeping a careful watch behind to make sure that the big barrel on the back that was full of cement kept on turning. Still turning, said Dig.
Still turning,
Said Doug.
When they arrived, Mr. Rubble was already waiting.
These are the plans,
He said.
they tell you where to put the foundations.
Right, said Doug.
Don't lose them, or we'll be in a terrible mess.
He said. And he left them to it. What are the foundations, Doug?
Well, you dig a hole, fill it with cement, and build on it. Now then,
Said Doug.
where does it say we start digging?
What about down here? Said Dig.
No,
Said Doug.
that's where the drains go. What about over there?
No, said Dig. That's the roof. I think. Doug, said Dig.
What?
Said Doug. We're in a bit of a muddle, aren't we?
Help me spread it on the ground.
Said Doug. So they did. The writing's underneath, said Dig.
I know it is,
Said Doug.
I'm not stupid. Now, let's see. What's this along the bottom?
Doug!
Just a minute. I'm trying to concentrate.
Doug! Morning, said Mrs. Sparkle. How's it going?
Morning, Mrs. Sparkle.
Said Doug. Suddenly, Dig had an idea.
Much better,
Said Doug.
we can see what we're doing now.
If you start digging, Doug, I'll make sure you're in the right place,
Right,
said Doug.
off we go then.
A bit here.
The next job is to fill it with cement.
Said Doug, admiring the hole. Can I do that? Asked Dig.
Come on then, and I'll show you how it works. In here is the cement, all wet and gooey.
How do we get it out? Asked Dig.
It'll come gushing through this hose.
Dig found it very interesting. So did Mrs. Sparkle, as she gathered in her washing.
And finally, if you turn that wheel, the cement pours out and you can point it where you want.
Dig couldn't wait to start. But Doug suddenly noticed something.
Mrs. Sparkle's washing!
He shouted. Ah! It's been stolen! Said Dig.
Oh, and so have Mr. Rubble's plans.
Dig and Doug hurried off to ask if anyone had seen anything. They tried Beth, who was doing some measuring. Then they tried Bert, the crane driver. But there was no sign of the washing, no sign of the plans, and no one left to ask. Except Mrs. Sparkle, said Dig.
She wouldn't steal her own washing,
Said Doug.
Come on, let's start the cement and hope for the best. Ready, Dig?
said Doug. Ready, Doug, said Dig. Can't see anything yet. Still can't see anything. Oh, that's it! We're running now, and it's filling up fast.
Just watch where you point it, that's all.
Hello, Uncle Doug, called Daisy. Oh, that looks fun, Dig. Can I have a turn?
A job for experts, I'm afraid, Daisy.
Right, Doug, we're almost done. Then Dig noticed that something was wrong. Help! He shouted. I'm stuck! The cement's going hard! It's not funny! He shouted. It's an emergency! Then Daisy had an idea, which she passed on to Doug, who passed it on to Beth, who went to tell Bert. And before long, help was on its way. Thanks, Doug.
No problem, Dig. Having fun?
Said a voice suddenly. It was Mr. Rubble.
At least you didn't get into a mess by losing my plans.
He said. The plans. And Mrs. Sparkle's washing. Dig and Doug had almost forgotten. And just as they were about to try and explain... Excuse me, I think these are yours. Dig and Doug were so relieved, especially as Mrs. Sparkle had ironed them. There we are, Mr. Rubble, all present and correct, said Mr. Rubble.
You've done something wrong here.
What could be wrong now? Too much cement? The foundation's in the wrong place? That would be terrible.
Where does it say we want a pair of boots in the middle?
He asked. Dig had left his behind, which made everyone laugh, even Mr. Rubble.
Dig and Doug in a little yellow truck are Daisy's favourite friends. Driving here and driving there to fetch and fix and mend. Watch them work together, helping out in style. Always at the ready with a spanner and a smile. Get Dig and Doug and Daisy to bring a smile to you. Daisy may be somewhere near, thinking up a plan, wondering how to help them out and lend a friendly hand. Get Dig and Doug and Daisy to bring a smile to you.
The sun was shining, the birds were singing, and so was Doug. He liked singing on his way to work. It made him feel better.
Morning, Beth.
Hiya!
See me in, will you?
Said Mr. Rubble.
I've got all this sand to unload.
Right, said Doug.
Keep going. That's it. Bit more. Raise the back when we shout now. Ow! No! Right!
Said Mr. Rubble, and pulled the lever to unload the sand.
That's funny,
he thought to himself.
They were here a minute ago.
Morning, Mr. Rubble.
Morning, Beth.
Hi, Dig. Hi, Doug. Hello again, said Dig and Doug.
Oh, I hope it's not going to be one of those days,
said Mr. Rubble. Of course not, said Dig and Doug.
Right, gentlemen, follow me and walk this way. Right,
he said, and realised they weren't behind him.
Oh, where have they gone now? What's the matter with you two today?
Sorry, Mr. Rubble, said Dig.
Be with you in a minute. All ears, Mr. Rubble,
said Doug. And Mr. Rubble explained that the bricks and sand were for the front wall of the building. Right, said Dig.
So don't forget to leave a gap in the middle.
Right, said Doug. What for? Whispered Dig. The front doors, whispered Doug.
Okay if I borrow your truck?
Fine, said Doug.
You can use my lorry if you like.
Fine, said Dig. And Mr. Rubble left them to it.
Help me get this bucket off, Dig.
So Dig did.
Mr. Rubble's right, Dig. Looks like it's going to be one of those days.
Let's get started before anything else goes wrong. So they did. To build the wall, they needed lots of bricks. Lots and lots of bricks. So many bricks that Dig was sure there was an easier way of moving them. I'm sure there's an easier way of moving them, Doug, said Dig. Hiya, said Beth. Doug had an idea. And he asked Beth if she could use her truck to move the rest of the bricks across for them. That's the lot, guys. Thanks, Beth, said Dig and Doug. We'll have that wall up in no time, said Doug. We will, said Dig. And so they began. Dig mixed the cement and took it across to Doug, who was getting on famously. Coming along famously, said Dig.
Oh, it's coming along famously, all right,
said Doug.
Almost halfway,
Said Dig.
Oh, it's almost halfway, all right.
Said Doug.
nearly there.
Said Dig.
Oh, it's nearly there, all right.
Said Doug.
Pretty well finished.
Said Dig.
Oh, it's pretty well finished, all right.
Said Doug. Dig and Doug stood back to admire their work.
Something's not right, Dig.
Said Doug.
It isn't, Doug.
Said Dig.
Something's there that shouldn't be.
It is.
Replied Dig. Something wasn't right.
Hi, guys. Got a passenger for you. Hello, Daisy,
said Dig and Doug.
Oh, no, she said. Who drove the lorry through the wall?
Dig and Doug suddenly realised what they'd done. They'd built the wall around the lorry, and now it was stuck.
Oh, what are we going to do? Said Dig.
The first thing, said Daisy, is not to panic.
Right, right,
said Dig and Doug. And the second thing is to try and move the lorry. So they did.
Back a bit, shouted Daisy. Gently. That's it. Keep going. Careful, Uncle Doug.
Bit by bit, the lorry moved away from the wall. The only trouble was, Dig got left behind.
Help!
Oh no, said Daisy, and wondered what else could go wrong.
Hello, young lady. Well, how's my wall coming along, Doug? Hello, Mr. Rubble, said Doug. Bert's going to lower your doors in with the crane. Perfect, said Mr. Rubble. But where's Dig got to?
Here I am, Mr. Rubble. Just checking that the doors work. Uh-oh.
Dig and Doug in a little yellow truck are Daisy's favourite friends. Driving here and driving there to fetch and fix and mend. Watch them work together, helping out in style. Always at the ready with a spanner and a smile. Get Dig and Doug and Daisy to bring a smile to you. Daisy may be somewhere near, thinking up a plan, wondering how to help them out and lend a friendly hand. Get Dig and Doug and Daisy to bring a smile to you.
On their way to work, Dig and Doug saw something very strange in the sky.
Well, I'll be blowed.
said Doug. Very strange, said Dig. Do you think it's a spaceship?
Ooh, could be,
said Doug. Or a flying saucer?
Ooh, could very well be,
said Doug. Or visitors from outer space?
Ooh, I wouldn't be at all surprised, said Doug.
Hello, Uncle Doug, shouted Daisy, and gave them both the fright of their lives.
Oh, Daisy,
said Doug.
You gave us the fright of our lives.
But when she explained that she'd been flying her kite, they realised what it was they'd seen.
Yes, I thought it was only a kite,
said Doug.
Dig thought it was a monster or something. Anyway, come along.
And with that, they said goodbye to Daisy and set off again for the building site. When they arrived, Beth was going up to the top in the lift. Fancy a ride?
Whoa, no thanks,
said Dig and Doug together. I don't like heights, Doug, said Dig.
Me neither,
said Doug. I wouldn't go up there if you paid me £1 million.
Me neither,
said Doug.
Morning, Dig. Morning, Doug,
said Mr. Rubble as he arrived with some wood.
Morning, Mr. Rubble,
they said.
Wood for the roof. I'd like you to get it up to the top of the building for me.
Dig and Doug couldn't believe their ears. You mean up there? said Dig.
Yes,
said Mr. Rubble.
to the
Top of the building? said Doug.
That's right,
said Mr. Rubble.
I'll see you later.
You know, I don't feel at all well, Doug. I think I'll go home.
Yes, I've got a bit of a pain as well.
OK, Yoto, let's get this wood lifted. It was Bert, the crane driver.
Right, who's going up top to unload?
He asked. He is, they both said.
Who's staying on the ground then?
I am, they both said. Hello down there. I say, would it help if I did the unloading up here? Asked Beth.
Oh, yes, please,
said Dig and Doug, feeling very relieved. And before long, Dig, Doug, Beth and Bert started moving the wood. When lunchtime came, Dig and Doug were so tired that all they wanted to do was sleep.
don't think I'll bother with lunch today,
said Dig.
Me neither,
said Doug.
All I want to do is sleep.
Me too, said Dig.
Have a nice lunch,
Bert shouted across to Beth. Shh, she said. You wake Dig and Doug. Daisy, meanwhile, was having a lovely time. The wind was blowing and her kite was flying higher than it had ever flown before. I'll run out of string soon, she said. At the building site, the lunch break was nearly over. "OK, you two, wakey, wakey," Bert shouted. "Come on, guys, we've got work to do." It was no good. Dig and Dug were sound asleep. Then Bert had an idea. As the crane lifted them gently to the top of the building, Dig and Dug never even stirred. But when Beth had made sure they'd landed safely... "Hello, Beth," said Dig. "Hello, Dig," said Beth.
Oh, come all the way down to see us?
"Down?" said Beth. "I haven't come down. You've come up." For a moment, Dig and Dug were very puzzled. "Where are we?" said Dig. "Up here," said Beth.
Where's here?
Said Dug. "On top of the building." "Oh," said Dig and Dug together. Then they realised where they were. "Ah! I'm going to fall!
No, you're not.
We're up here!
I know we are.
We should be down there!
I know we should.
Don't panic!"
I'm not panicking.
Poor old Dig and Dug. They couldn't work out how it had happened or what they were doing up there.
How did it happen?
What are we doing here? Up on the hill, the wind was still taking Daisy's kite for the best ride it had ever had. "Whee!" she said. "Don't worry, Mr. Kite. I'll follow you."
I'm all right if I don't look down,
said Dug. "Me too," said Dig. While Beth was helping Dig and Dug into the lift cage, another passenger arrived. "Here you are," said Beth. "You can take this as a souvenir." When they arrived at the bottom, who should be waiting but Daisy? "Hello, Daisy," they said. "My kite! You found my kite!" "Have we?" said Dig.
Yes,
said Dug.
I thought I recognised it.
"Thank you," she said. "You're so brave to have gone all the way up there to get it."
Oh, well,
said Dig and Dug. The kindest and bravest friends in all the world.
it was nothing, was it, Dig?
Said Dug. "No, Dug," said Dig. "We could have done it in our sleep."